You're listening to the Floyd Main Street Podcast. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm your host, Lucas Graham, back for another edition of this week's Floyd Main Street Podcast. Joining me today are our co-host, Eric Branscombe. Eric, how you doing?
Doing good, Lucas. Hope you're doing all right.
Yeah, doing good today. And Mr. Chad Harris. Chad, how's it going?
I'm doing well.
Good. We've got several things to talk about this week. Got another Board of Supervisors meeting that's come and gone. We're going to have a breakdown of that. Speaking of board, there was an interesting post from one of the board members on social media last night. We're going to break down, talk about a little bit.
Yep.
Talk about some stuff going on within the school system, some issues and some drama going on with cheerleading. And we also want to take a minute to talk about the situation with Charlie Kirk and the assassination, the unfortunate event, because that's affected everybody, and it does affect, and it has an effect of the people on Floyd. So we want to bring and touch on that a little bit, but a lot to bring up this week, so let's go ahead and jump right into it.
And we want to cap it off with another true crime story.
That's right. I forgot to bring that up after we just talked about it. But if you noticed last week, we ended our last segment with a true crime story, as it was dubbed, because that's one of the things that we've gotten feedback from our listeners is that they love those stories and they love hearing about court cases and things that are going on. So we're going to implement that as a segment, and we're going to tie it there at the end of the podcast. So make sure you stick around for that if true crime is your thing. What do you guys want to start off with this week on news?
Well, I just want to touch very briefly on the Charlie Kirk assassination. We like to try to stay focused on Floyd County, but I can tell you that everything that I've seen, people are deeply affected by that. That's something that we see a lot of posts on Facebook. I've seen people talking about it around town. It's a defining moment. Exactly what it's going to define, we don't know yet, but a lot of people are very deeply moved by this, and that's what we're seeing out there at the moment.
He was scheduled to be right in our backyard
in
a couple of weeks over at Virginia Tech.
On September 24th, he was supposed to be over at Virginia Tech, I think along with Megyn Kelly.
Just like anybody else that has social media this week, you can't get on there without seeing people post about it. The good and the bad, right? Because there's a lot of circulation of the incident, of the video, and I know there's a lot of debate that's not for this platform or this day to talk about as far as social media distribution. But either way, a lot of people were exposed to this story, and it has that profounding impact because he wasn't a politician.
Right.
He was in politics, but he wasn't an elected politician. He was just a citizen that was just exercising his constitutional amendment right.
And he was divisive in some ways between people in different political viewpoints. But I think the thing to remember, and I would like to emphasize for everyone, that Floyd is a community.
Yeah.
There are people that have different viewpoints. But we should keep in mind also the fact, number one, while he was divisive in certain respects, he was also a family man.
Yeah.
And a person expressing his viewpoints. So we just ask respect on all sides.
That's right. And, you know, he's got two little kids that he leaves behind. I believe he's 4 years old and maybe a year old. There's now a wife that doesn't have a husband that's got to raise two kids. Right. And I saw her maybe a couple nights ago now that she made a comment where her youngest child said, "Where's Daddy? When's he coming home?" She said, "Well, he's at work. He's got to go work with Jesus." What do you say to a child at that age? But it's tragic. And I just hope that things can calm down a little bit.
Right.
I'm a music guy. We've mentioned that a bunch on this podcast, and I'll summarize it with this. Willie Nelson's son, Lucas Nelson, wrote a song after an event, not to the impact of this event, but it happened a few years ago. And he wrote a song, very simply put, says, "Turn off the news and go build a garden."
That's a good approach to the world, generally.
But anyway, you're right, though. It had an effect on Floyd. It happened all the way in Utah, but it affects everybody, and especially even our citizens here in Floyd. There was posts about it. From my camp, at least, we're praying for the family and everybody that's had to suffer through this, because it's like you said, there's kids that now are going to have to grow up without a father, that's a wife that's not got a spouse anymore, and it's just tragic. It's tragic, and we don't ever want to see violence of that nature, or violence of any kind, especially over political beliefs.
But we have a lot of things going on in the county.
Yeah,
and we're not going to run out of things to talk about there.
No, I think Chad's over here chomping at the bit.
Yeah, we've had another Board of Supervisors meeting.
We did. And how long did this one go, Chad? Was it about 3?
Yeah, like 3 hours, 40 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
Just nothing but pure excitement, a thrill a minute.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to your summary of that. I'm just going to go stop and get another cup of coffee.
Sit up all night just waiting for this moment.
We've talked about land division ordinance stuff.
Oh,
and
my
that's
goodness.
Been
The
a
land
little,
division. What's that?
A little bit of a hot topic that the board brings up in this meeting. I think one of them mentioned that during the public comment period.
I'm just curious what we're going to talk about when we get past trash and land ordinances.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'll have to watch these meetings anymore because they're not going to have anything to talk about.
Yes, once that land division ordinance is passed, all the problems will be solved.
And the trash.
We'll be living in a utopia.
I think you ought to get a key to the town just for your efforts. But give us a lowdown, because there is.
I'm comfortable, Chad. I've got my blanket and my pillow here. I'm ready for you.
You look comfortable. Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, well, let's roll into this then.
All right.
So they started the meeting off just like every other meeting. They approved the agenda, approved disbursements, and approved the minutes from the last meeting. The first speaker was Hope Estes, and she was speaking from the Department of Social Services. She spoke on the SNAP and Medicaid changes that were coming.
I can tell you on that, I worked a lot with Hope, and Hope does a lot of work with the fraud, and she does a good job with that.
Do you want to do this, or am I doing this?
I'm trying to keep myself awake here.
The next speaker was Dr. Cromer. She gave an update from the school board, and she talked on the summer farm-to-table enrichment for grades 3 to 7 with 36 students. She touched on student performance ranking and how that had improved from 64th in 2024 to 49th in 2025, and that's out of 131 divisions. She also talked about the state board considering higher SOL cut scores.
131 divisions of what?
I'm not sure. And that would be affecting the pass rates. So moving on, the Economical Development Authority, Workforce Housing and Concept. There was a presentation by Chris Chittum, and they talked about a project near completion of its current phase. And it appears that the county is looking at a development of housing, and that would be single dwelling and corner townhouses on lots as small as 1/4 of an acre. So they were presented 3 concepts, an A, B, C. A being a development of 18 to 22 dwellings, B 40 to 50 dwellings, and C 50 to 70 dwellings. And so they showed pictures about this is what A looks like, this is what B looks like, this is what C looks like.
Oh, wait, are you talking about in one development, like 70 dwellings?
Yes.
In the town or in the county?
So they never really said. That's where a little bit of investigation led to finding out that it looks like it's between the 2 subdivisions on Woods Gap. County owns 34 acres back in there. And when I looked at the outlay on GIS of that particular 34 acres and what they were presenting, it's identical. So that has to be where it's at.
That's pretty dense. 70 dwellings and 34 acres?
I don't know where they're going to get the money from. That come out to about, it looked like anywhere from $6.1 million to $8.25 million. And that's not putting a shovel in the dirt. That's only development on getting the roads and having the lots and the grading and getting everything ready to build. And so this is targeting your workforce, families. And there's a formula out there. It basically formulates a certain income to affordable housing, and there's a target goal that they're trying to reach. And it looks like they have to have 51% occupancy requirement for that. You know, I really don't know enough about all this to go into a lot of the details, other than the fact that I lived in that neighborhood for many a years, and where I was at, it was quiet, and about the only time you really dealt with a lot of traffic was during school hours. Other than that, it was virtually, you were right in town, but there was virtually no traffic. You go to putting 40, 50, 70 houses up in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking another 70 to 140 cars.
I mean, VDOT generally talks about like 2 cars per family as a minimum. So you talk about 140 extra cars, and then most of those have multiple trips per day on those roads, and that's not just the wear and tear on the roads, but on how much traffic there is and the higher incidence of all kinds of issues coming from that.
And at what point would you have to even consider adding a stoplight or something to that point to
Adding a stoplight
Right.
in
Yeah,
Floyd
we can't
County?
do that.
Hold the phone.
It is interesting. I think they looked at developing that piece of property a number of years back, and it just never panned out. And I don't know that this will either. So far, I was told by one of the supervisors that all of this exploratory on this project was paid by grant funding. So it hasn't costed the county a dime as of yet. What is it, like a $54, $56 million budget that the county has? I don't know that they're going to have $6 million just laying around to develop this or put this in place. So moving on, David Clark came in and from VDOT, and he spoke on storm debris cleanup. They're mowing these side roads, and primary and secondary. There's some brush cutting going on. The Reedsville construction is finished, and Hope Road is finished. They're doing some gravel road patching on Indian Valley Road, Kennedy School, and the Post Office Road. There was some concerns from the supervisors. So this is kind of their time that they voice their concerns from their district on what roads they would like to see them addressed. There was voiced about a guardrail on 615 and some chevrons on Bethlehem Church Road. There was also some appreciation from Jerry Booth about Route 8, and then there was some requests for grading on Old Mill Road. Apparently that's kind of a problem when it rains. It washes the road out into somebody's driveway. Mm-hmm. Joe Turman brought up some attention needed on Reese Road off of Sugar Tree and some road condition issues on Diamond Knob and Wilson Cemetery. And I'm sure there's probably a longer list than that they've
I'm
got.
sure. Diamond Knob, that's getting way back into the woods.
That is. I had a run into a listener this past week that had asked me about Hale Road, if that was a part of the plan, and I wasn't sure, but I don't think I heard you read off Hale Road. So.
Hale Road? Oh,
yeah.
Hale, yes.
Yeah, oh, Hale, yes, Hale.
I don't remember that road being brought up specifically, either in this meeting or in the past, really, but that's not to say that it hasn't.
Yeah.
So moving on, and this is a pretty good topic, I think. They had a company come in and talk about trash compactors and then give an overview on basically trash compactors and what they're capable of. They went over the warranties, the cost savings, the safety, the services, and the company background. Apparently, one compactor equals 15 dumpsters. It seemed like it got a lot of positive feedback from the supervisors. I think they were excited to hear this presentation, and it may be something they consider.
Well, that's a light at the end of the tunnel for us with all the issues that we've been having. Any idea how a compactor would deal with bears?
They touched on the bears, and of course, not a whole lot you can do, but if you fence it in and you lock it up at night. Steve Durbin spoke up and talked about there had been some conversations out here in the public about real estate agents being on the board and if that was a conflict. And Steve done his best to put that to bed and say that it wasn't a conflict, and then he went on to discuss what he felt was a conflict.
I took the opportunity to take a look at that. Let me make sure that we're very clear on that. Conflict of interest, it's a phrase. It's also a legal standard. So they're two separate things people are talking about. And what Mr. Durbin is talking about when he's in the board meeting is what the legal standard is in Virginia for a conflict of interest. But a lot of people, when they see something being a problem, they're thinking of the ethical problem of a conflict of interest. So you can have an ethical problem with a conflict of interest, that people have either a family or a financial interest in the outcome or employment situation. And it may or it may not be enough to trigger the legal problem, but that doesn't mean that it's right to do. That doesn't mean that it's an ethical thing to do. So there are two different versions. This is something because I have a lot of people that come and ask questions about things, particularly what have happened with the current board. And so, what is an ethical problem? What is a legal problem? And a lot of people say, well, shouldn't this person have a conflict of interest because of this? You remember when we had Justin Coleman was on the board.
Yeah.
He was an officer in the sheriff's office.
Wife was a school teacher.
And his wife was a school teacher. And so anytime that anything came up about increasing pay for sheriff's deputies, if it was just increasing pay for the sheriff's deputies, he couldn't vote on that. If it was just something about increasing pay for the teachers, he would step away and not vote on that. But if it was increasing pay for everyone in the county, all the county employees, the same amount, he could vote on that. But that's a good example that there was a conflict on an ethical side, but not on a legal side. So it gave him the opportunity to do that. And I think that's when Steve Durbin is addressing the public and saying there's no conflict of interest, that's not exactly correct. There is no legal conflict of interest that's actually prohibited by state code. That doesn't mean that there isn't an issue there that should be addressed ethically.
I see. So they went back to the economical development in this project, and they retouched on some talk about well, septic, and water, and actually pumping water from these water towers via the tower on Storker's Knob and the water tower at the school. So there was some conversation there. There was some conversation about applying to get some USDA money. And, of course, that subdivision that is in question is Crestview Drive and White Oak Drive. So it would be at the end of both of those subdivisions and basically going up in that 34 acres and making a circle. So in the one subdivision, out the other. So in case any of you guys were wondering exactly where that was and what the road name is, that's what it is.
I was hanging on every word, Chad. Really, I was.
I knew you were, buddy. I didn't want you going home and having any question about where this was at. So
I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
What's my name?
You make things so So fun for me. Oh my goodness! So there was.
I haven't mentioned anything about your abnormally long arms in weeks.
I know, and even if you did, I edited it out. So. There was an appointment made for the interim county administrator, Kim Cheeto, and the deputy county administrator, Jenny Talbert, to the New River Valley on Aging for a 2-year term effective 10/1/25.
Right. Now, that was something that before had been left to either the actual county administrator, which we don't have at the moment, and a member of the Board of Supervisors. I think that they mentioned something like that.
Yeah, I think so. So they ordered a new courthouse flag. They talked about green boxes on Route 8 and the bear problems. Again, trash issues, the bear population solutions. You know, one thing about that, and I was talking to somebody, I don't remember exactly who it was, but they were basically talking about how bear hunting in these other counties and bear hunting here were completely different. Can't hunt with dogs in Floyd County. You can in other counties. Mm-hmm. They were almost traveling into another state when it comes to hunting bear in Floyd versus these other counties. So the supervisors may be on to something there. That may be, they may need to reach out to the Game Commission and just try to have a conversation with somebody about making some of these changes to how these bears are hunted. I don't know if it'll make a difference or not, but it's certainly worth a shot.
It's interesting. I wonder where DGIF gets those regulations, how they can vary from one neighboring county to the next.
Certain types of game are given wide latitude, and bear is one of them. So there's some places that bear were more protected than others. I think that that's probably where Floyd falls in line, and the changes have not kept up with the reality of the explosion in our bear population. Man, it wasn't 10 years ago. It was hard to ever find a bear in Floyd.
When you heard of somebody that saw one or took a picture of it, you kind of almost stopped where you were like, oh my gosh, somebody saw a bear.
Yeah.
So if you saw a picture on Facebook, it was like, whoa, wait, what was that?
Yeah, I think I was like 27 before I first saw my first bear out in the wild.
Now we got people that's got them engaging in coitus in the backyard, right, Eric?
You know, it's just one
Well,
of
all
those
that
things.
sweet corn and donuts don't help matters, Lucas.
You got to expect that's going to happen next.
That's right. That's right.
There was some talk about a cheerleader outfits reimbursement. See, I told you I had seen something about that.
Oh, yes. We got a bit of a controversy about that.
The land division ordinance, the neighboring property owners, a proposal to allow neighbors to purchase adjoining land without road frontage for agricultural purposes. And that's pretty much sums it up. There was some talks about the courthouse security update, which we've touched on that. The Greenbox court results. And then they actually did pass a couple proclamations, though. There was a proclamation for October for Children's Cancer Awareness. September was a proclamation for recovery awareness and a suicide prevention, which is the 7th through the 13th of September. They all voted on that, and that all passed unanimously. Pretty much sums it up, Eric.
What about the cheerleading thing? Because we talked about it pre-show about some stuff going on with cheerleading.
There was a controversy about some allegations made against the new cheerleading coach at the high school. Apparently that came up in the school board meeting, that a lady reported to the school board. Basically, she wanted to see what the school board would do about possible defamatory remarks being made against the cheerleading coach on Facebook. Some of the allegations about the cheerleading uniforms not being paid for by the county anymore, that the cheerleaders had to pay for those themselves, something along those lines. But apparently also about verbal abuse happening during cheer coaching. I think that's really in the realm for the school board to investigate and decide if there's anything that needs to be looked into further. I would leave that to them and to the high school. There's a capable staff over there for them to dig into that. And I hope the people that have those issues will bring them to the proper authorities. That's the school board and the high school administration.
That's right. Definitely not going to speculate on anything, especially a juvenile matter. But what caught my attention was you were saying that the students and or their families were responsible for the uniforms. I don't know that to be true in any other sport.
True.
Could be wrong, but I thought that was something the school provided. I wouldn't think cheerleading would be an exception to that.
There were significant cuts in the school board budget this year.
That's true, there was. And Dr. Kremer spoke on that.
In the past, they have these sports teams, and they've had fundraisers, right, to try to help alleviate some of the cost on this.
There's probably a lot to be said on both sides of that, but we really don't have, but except for a few posts on Facebook, some allegations raised by this woman who was speaking in the public comments section at the school board. So we don't really have anything official on this.
Well, I hope for the case of it that it's not the responsibility of the parent or the child to have to pay for that. You know, It would be a shame for a kid not to be able to participate because they couldn't afford to buy their uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hope that's not the case.
If it's the point that we're at, that was part of the budget cuts where teams are going to have to do fundraisers to get their funds for the uniforms, then hey, I want to know about it. Let's get it out on the podcast. Let's let everybody know about it because, I mean, like you said, it would be awful that a kid wouldn't be able to play a sport or do any school-related activity that they want to do because they couldn't afford the uniform that you'd think that would be provided. But
I see another fundraiser coming on.
You may be onto something.
Chad, why don't you get right on that?
Hey, buddy, I'm working on the chili recipe right now.
we're going to do a Dunkin' booth, Dunk the Commonwealth Attorney Day.
Hey, they would take all my money on that.
Yeah, but we're going to do it in the winter.
I've done that before. It was not fun. And you have to make sure it's really hot outside. They do not have heated dunking tubs.
Lucas will be like, get your foot off his head. Chad, get your foot off his head.
Before we move on, I'm not one to bring up, I don't like bringing social media things up.
Here we go.
Except for if it's an elected official.
Yeah, that's right.
We just got done talking about the Board of Supervisors, and one of our elected officials on the Board of Supervisors had quite an interesting post last night. And again, the only reason I find it to be noteworthy is because it is an elected official.
People will be listening to this on Tuesday, but this is Saturday that we're recording this. So on Friday night, Ms. Bechtold, representing Indian Valley, dropped a post. Would you like me to go ahead? I have a copy of it here. And
break it.
I thought I'd read the relevant sections.
Sounds good.
She writes, seeing the results of lies has been a pivotal moment. A few things that I feel must be said. The truth, even if it is not pretty. You all deserve the truth. The Board of Supervisors did not vote to close volunteer rescue. This was the sole decision of the Volunteer Rescue Board of Directors. There should be no shame in that truth. I was present when Mr. Phillips and Mr. Cox were told repeatedly that Station 4 would not be staffed 24/7 in the foreseeable future due to the shortage of EMS staff across the NRV and entire country. It is not for lack of funding, efforts to hire, train, or any other issue that the county could change. This was also stated by the doctor that oversees our EMS service at a board meeting earlier this year. She goes on to state that she has supported volunteer fire and never considered having it cut or the dispatch area reduced. This was not in the scope of the Board of Supervisors anyway. It is the decision of the Emergency Services Coordinator, who is not overseen by the Board of Supervisors. Then she goes on to take some other points about her background, but she does want to emphasize that she served the Valley and the county without any self-serving motivations. It was not for self-promotion, power, or influence, but fiscal accountability, ensuring county policy was consistent with preserving the integrity of the county, its resources and agricultural heritage, and our God-given rights. I have never had any political aspirations or attempts in the past to seek any elected position. So that's pretty hard-hitting when it comes directly from one of the members of the board about a current issue that's before the county.
It's definitely a spirited post. And speaking with her in our interview here on the podcast with her, she's spirited about these topics. She wants to see solutions fixed. I don't know the context or background of that post, but that's something that she talked about in the interview was like, the whole rescue thing, we can't get people hired. That's what she was saying. What do you do?
Right.
You know, we increase the pay. We've got an attractive benefits package.
Mm-hmm.
It's an issue across the board. Some of the feedback that we get that I've heard personally from people in the Valley is we get it. We still want somebody here when we need help. I think maybe she was tired of being in the crossfire a little bit.
You know, any political campaign, there's going to be some accusations that go back and forth. People on one side or the other tend to want to shade the truth of a way that makes them look better. That happens in every campaign.
So she's out of it. She lost the election.
She lost the primary and
with
she
Walter,
is not running.
And so she's not running.
There
is a write-in campaign.
Yes, she has endorsed
Darren Marshall.
Darren Marshall, who's running a write-in campaign.
Okay. I guess that's just such a hot topic in the Valley that everybody, and I mean, I get it. You know, I would want rescue right there at my back door too. I mean, I understand the concerns, but I mean, I feel like that's kind of been addressed multiple times. And if that's not soaking in with people, then you probably need to look at who's spreading that and put some validity in the person that's spewing this, because they've probably been told more than one time that, hey, this isn't factual.
Right. Well, truth is one of the first casualties when it comes to either war or a political campaign. So,
you mean people lie? Is that what you're trying to say, Eric?
Well, I don't want to say that everybody does, but Everybody does.
Do you say that again? Truth is the first casualty.
It's the first casualty in war and political campaigns.
Speaking of political campaigns, I mean, I would like to extend the offer again to Walter to come and be on the podcast and express his platform, as well as Darren Marshall.
I think we're getting to that point because the voting starts on September 19th, so that's not that far away. I'd like to invite both candidates.
Sure.
Not at the same time. I think we do one and then the other. But I'd love to hear from both of them about that because obviously there's a lot of issues before the board and a lot of issues in Indian Valley that both of them would like to address.
I did notice that Darren was at the board meeting Tuesday. That's always good to see from anybody who's running. I like to see that they're interested and trying to stay up to date on what's going on in the county. I think that's very important.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Fellas, I think is that enough heavy topics for
Well, that's enough heavy topics. Now, the more fun topic is that the Floyd County Fair was going on today, and that was, as always, a great time.
Yeah. I mean, everything from ducks to sheep to
Duck-palooza. The Duck-palooza, watching the ducks and being herded by I guess you'd call him a sheepdog. I guess he's a duck dog, but they're herding the ducks through all the little obstacles and so forth.
I had heard that you run into one of our production team members at the fair.
Yes.
And you must have worked him so hard that he just had to go home and take a nap.
Or he ate too much cotton candy one.
Well, I mean, it's all that fair food. You know, we had the food trucks out there, and there was all kinds of activity. I know he was sampling some dips at some point.
Old John X looks like he had the Vittle wagon for lunch.
Somebody crushed up some sleep aid, I believe, in his food. Looking at him over here. This is 2 weeks in a row we put him to sleep.
He was a bit overwhelmed by the sheep shearing.
It was. I'd say so.
Derek Spangler was doing his sheep shearing exhibition there, and watching that sheep just be shorn was shocking. Shocking in the way.
It was probably interesting to him because they probably didn't find many sheep or geese in those music studios in L.A. where he comes from.
But to be fair, he is of Greek extraction, so there's something genetic for him. So
I mean, it's funny to see that the people that move here or come from other states, the things that they find interesting or that they don't see very often, to us, we just take it for granted.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Even the Floyd Friday Night Jamboree. Friends that live in adjoining counties over the years come out like, hey, take me to Jamboree. What's it like? I don't know. It's been years since I've been.
Never been.
You've never been? Yeah, that's about right.
Football. Football's back nationally, collegiately, and
most
locally.
importantly, here in town.
That's right. And our Buffaloes are off to a great start.
2-0, baby.
They whopped Blacksburg Friday night. 32-20.
32-20. I could give you a rundown of the game.
Give us a breakdown. I want to know about these stats.
Okay. Well, I don't know about the individual stats, but this is what I got for you. On Friday, September 12th, Floyd County High School Buffaloes faced off against the Blacksburg High School Bruins. It was a non-conference game held at the Floyd County's Coach Beal Field.
So they're in two different divisions, right? Didn't you say last time Blacksburg's in a little higher class of division than we are?
They would have to be, I guess, because they've probably got quite a few more students enrolled.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge school. Well, Floyd County got off to a strong start with a 10-0 lead early in the game. It kind of went back and forth, but I can tell you that we had the final result was Floyd County winning 32 over Blacksburg 20. In the fourth quarter, some of the highlights. In the fourth quarter, Floyd County quarterback Sam Phillips scored a 4-yard rushing touchdown, followed by a successful 2-point conversion to extend the lead that Floyd had over Blacksburg. Blacksburg, they weren't completely shut out. Their quarterback, Sam Zefik, broke loose for a 50-yard rushing touchdown to give them a score. And with 2 minutes and 39 minutes left in the game, Sam Phillips connected with wide receiver Gabe Hullett on a 41-yard pass touchdown, putting the game out of reach for Blacksburg. So another notable play was also in the fourth quarter. Nico Milenez added a 17-yard rushing touchdown for Floyd, adding further cushion to the lead. So Floyd had a dominant fourth quarter that put Blacksburg away with a 32-20 victory on Friday night.
There we go. Our boys looking good so far. It's early in the season, but things are looking pretty good so far.
Sounds like we're off to a great start.
I want to throw out, too, for anybody that's looking to keep up with the football team, the next 4 games are away games. So they're not going to be home again until October 17th.
Oh, gosh.
Chances are that it'll be cold by the time they're back home. Then
yeah,
absolutely. Next week, we got Grayson County. It's another bigger school than us.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to Fort Chiswell, bigger than us. Patrick County, probably the first game of the year that we've played that we had a school about the same size as us. Then we got to go at Martinsville. So it's a pretty tough little 4-game stretch, especially for all 4 games to be on the road. I would love to get Coach Cromer in here or somebody with the football team, do a little breakdown and talk about that. Let us know in the comments, and if that's something that you'd like to see for sports, if you want to hear directly from some football team representatives, coaches on that. Moving on, let's talk about some stuff that's going on this week.
Lots of things going on.
Always in Floyd. There's plenty going on, more than you would ever think. But Wednesday, karaoke's back. First and third Wednesdays of the month. Eric, it is your chance to go belt David Allen Coe to the top of your lungs.
It is my opportunity to shine.
That'll be 7P to 9P. I mean, if you don't catch that, the very next night over at the Country Store, they're doing their Honky Tonk Thursdays with Red Volkert. I wanted to bring that up. I've said it before. I'm going to shamelessly plug this guy till the end of my days because he played with Merle Haggard and the Strangers. I mean, how daggone cool is that? And now he's playing the Country Store about once or twice a month. An incredible, incredible opportunity. Mm-hmm. He's a fantastic guitar player, can tell some awesome stories. If you ain't got nothing going on Thursday, go check that one out. Friday, Eric, we've got the Artisan Markets back.
Oh, the Artisan Market. That's always good.
And it's right here at where the Farmers Market is,
and
correct?
I think that they're having music on most of those.
Okay.
So we're seeing more that they'll have music going on the Friday evenings.
Yeah, so that's 5 p.m. Come check out the Artisan Market, listen to some tunes, and then after that goes over with, you could just slip right across the street to the Country Store.
Be hard to miss. I mean, if the weather being as is, you'll have people playing out on the streets.
That is such a special thing. We always talk about the headliner who's playing in the store, but man, getting out on the street is where it's at. But this Friday night, Jamboree is going to be featuring Up Jumped Trouble, featuring Josh Blankenship. He's a local pastor and a local musician that's pretty ingrained in the bluegrass world. Tickets are $10 to that show. That'll be a really good one. Also on Friday, I thought this was really cool. It's not going to appease everybody or appeal to everybody, I should say. But the Junebug Center is hosting an improv, comedy, and acting workshop.
Oh.
They're doing it Friday from 5:30 p.m. until 7, so you got a little hour-and-a-half workshop. Tickets are $110.
That would be good for Chad. He needs to work on his comedy.
Well, I mean, I thought mine was pretty good as opposed to like the dead horse that you keep beating every week. So maybe they could show you how to get some new material. That'd be good.
Look, you stick with what works.
What's the saying? Back to the blue room or drawing board or something?
The blue room's when you want to be calm. Drawing board is when you want to get started.
Okay. All right. Fair. That's a little bit of, I don't want to say a steep price tag. I was a little surprised by it when I saw that. But if that's what you're looking for, I mean, they probably at the Junebug Center, that's right up their alley. They've probably got somebody that's hosting that workshop that'll really get your skills up. Last but not least, Flieger Hill, a local band. Their name come from
Flieger Hill.
From Flieger Hill right here in Floyd. They play classic rock and country. I mean, everything from the Allman Brothers to Waylon Jennings, everything in between. They're a great, great group of guys and a great band. Check them out. Saturday, we got the Floyd 5K.
That's the 20th?
Yeah. Did y'all know about that? I actually didn't until I saw this.
That's not the one that the sheriff's running in, is it? So he's been preparing for a 5K to run with his daughter.
I don't know.
And they run it every year. I'm not sure if it's this one or not. But
this one's coming up Saturday, September 20th.
Not he may have just got volunteered.
Yeah.
I only run if something's chasing me. But this
Same here.
But then that goes back to the whole bear situation.
This Floyd 5K is going to be starting at 2053 Thunderstruck Road. I don't know what location that is. I just know it's right on the river. Registration is at 8 a.m. and the race begins at 9 a.m.
That's a little too early for my start.
If running isn't your thing, you can't see me right now. Both my hands are up.
Can I drive my car for a 5K?
Driving
Be the
event.
pace car. If running ain't your thing, head over to the Floyd Country Store for Americana afternoons. They do those on Saturdays. This Saturday will be Eulalie and David Kennedy. And Miss Kennedy, if I said your name wrong, I'm sorry. I tried.
And what do we know about on Saturdays as well? Wildwood General Store.
Always got Wildwood coming on.
You got some great music and some great flat-footing going on.
Saturday night, headlining music at the Country Store. This is a big show. The Seldom Scene, SCENE.
Yeah.
They are a pretty prominent bluegrass group. They're going to be at the Floyd Country Store headlining Saturday night. General admission tickets for that are $45. If that's not your cup of tea, you can't make it out, you can pay to watch the live stream for $15. They're a pretty well-known bluegrass group. It's going to be a good show, and it's going to be a packed show, so prepare
Seldom
for that.
seen. Do they work ever with To Be Determined, the TBDs?
I think they stay busier than TBD. I haven't seen TBD booked all summer except for at the beginning. And rounding this off, I got the Fall Festival and Customer Appreciation Days coming up at the brewery. That's Saturday, September 20th. It's running all day, I think noon till about 6 or 7 p.m. Live music, games, fun for the whole family. And that's something that they really heavily advertise is, look, we're a brewery, but this is family-friendly environment. Bring your kids, bring everybody. Let's have a good time. But a lot of good stuff going on for their Customer Appreciation Day. The last thing that I have, fellas, is Vicar Switch is going to be playing at Dogtown. We talked about headlining the country store. Bluegrass ain't your thing. Go over to Dogtown, listen to Vicar Switch at 8 p.m. They are a 3-piece classic rock band playing everything from the 60s to the 90s. And that is a free show. So $45 ticket at the country store. If bluegrass ain't your thing, head over to Dogtown for free.
Sounds like there's a free show going on out here in the parking lot
Yeah, I know.
of the Safe Surfing Studios here.
Yes. Yep. Well, we're right here in the heart of the action in the Safe Surfing Studios.
Yeah.
In the heart of the town of Floyd.
The town of Floyd. We'll do a little plug here. I appreciate Eddie and the Safe Surfing Foundation for allowing us to be here. We talked about it last week, but this is our new home, and Safe Surfing graciously has let us into their space to be able to host, and we appreciate them and everything that they do.
Did you ever think when we first got started that we would have a studio or a sponsor? I mean, for that matter.
I didn't think we'd have a microphone. Well, I mean, we didn't.
I figured by this time we'd be tarred and feathered.
All right, Eric, it's time for the part that people love.
Oh, no.
Well, no,
Not
we've
at
still
all.
got,
Did I miss
we've
something?
got more events.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know if you've been watching, but he's over here chomping at the bit.
I know.
He's got-
Oh,
Throwing
he does
my
have a
hands up in
stack.
the air. And,
Yeah, all right.
And when he throws his hands up in the air, that's saying something.
yeah,
Because they go way up there.
Put it in reverse, Terry.
that's right.
What we got?
So we got Wheels Ride, which is the 8th annual Memorial Dice Ride, and that's Saturday, September 20th, 2025, and that's in memory of Meredith Will Williams and Stella Gann, and it's also to honor all veterans, active military, and first responders. I believe Will was the fellow that was senselessly beaten at Kanawha Valley. He succumbed to his injuries. It was 4 individuals that assaulted him, and he passed during that incident. It was a bad deal, but I'm glad to see that the Moose Lodge honors him every year and has a memorial dice run for him. And that's a motorcycle ride. I'm sure cars are welcome as well. That ride ends at the Floyd Moose Lodge. Registration starts at 9 a.m. Kickstands up at 11 a.m. And it's $15 for bikes, cars, trucks, $5 for each additional rider. So all vehicles are welcome. There's a meal for all riders that's provided, and they've got lots of door prizes.
How long ago was that?
Well, it's the 8th annual, so I'm assuming right there at 8-9 years.
That's awesome, though, that they're still honoring his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I did forget, we'll talk about this more as it gets closer, but another big festival that will be coming to Floyd, the 2025 Floyd Americana Fest.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be on October 11th. So, again, we got a little bit.
We've got some things coming up. That's right.
Yeah, but that's going to be at the Warren Lineberry Park.
Isn't it on October 4th that we have the craft fair?
That is coming up. Yeah.
And that's big.
That is a big one coming up. I've been speaking with some people affiliated that work with that. They're going to be getting me some promotional material
Excellent.
that we can put in for our viewers. But that is a staple.
Viewers or listeners.
So I was just informed last night that Chantilly out here on Franklin Pike is now a KOA.
Oh,
I hope
really?
I was given
What?
correct advice on that
didn't
to
know that.
repeat this on the podcast. But yeah, that it just recently became a KOA.
They were under management through a company out of Richmond, correct? They weren't.
Yeah,
there
it
was no
like,
on-site
was it like
management.
Floyd Campground, or there was a name
yeah,
for
right.
it. I don't think it's Chantilly.
Right. Floyd Family Campground, I think.
It is now a KOA.
Now a KOA.
Well, it's going to bring people in because it's a part of a network.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That is interesting. All right.
I know Chad's got a few
So,
other
yeah,
things.
we've got a few other things. October 18th, which is a little further out than we would touch on, but the Jacksonville Burial Ground Tour with Gino Williams. And that's Saturday, October 18th.
Sign up while you can.
Yeah.
It's from 10 a.m. to 11:30 at Jacksonville. I think that'll be interesting for everybody. Gino's really big into a lot of historical information in Floyd, and he's fun to talk to, and he's fun to listen to, and I'm sure he'll do a wonderful job with this.
I'd love to get Gino on sometime.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you could spend multiple full-length episodes talking about the history that's just at that cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the oldest dated headstone is there, but I know the front side off of Parkway Lane, what you see from the road, that is where the older headstones are at. Gosh, my dad would probably shoot me for not knowing this, but I think they go back to Are they Civil War eras? Do they go back that far?
Oh,
Or are
I
we
think
talking
that-
like early 1900s?
I think
maybe?
they go back.
I was thinking like
pre-Civil War.
1800s.
Yeah.
Is it pre-Civil?
I think it's pre-Civil War.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And like you said, Mr. Williams, he has such an incredible knowledge of the county.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm interested in that. Sign me up.
Yeah, I plan on attending that. That's going to be good. So one thing, September the 30th, which is a Tuesday night, and Plenty hosts these a couple times a year. They're having their community meal, and that's free for anybody to come and have
Yeah,
a
those
meal.
are good. I've been to a couple of those before. They're very nice.
Commonly, they would have one every month,
Mhm.
but they sort of had to cut that out to every other month or every couple of months. But their next one is Tuesday, September 30th. So if you're looking for a place to go and network and maybe meet some new people, I think that's a wonderful thing that they do. And get out and get you something free to eat. Who don't like
That's
free?
Yeah.
Well, we know how much you like free.
I love it, man.
I'll take free food all day long.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here already thinking about what I'm going to eat after we get done recording.
Oh, yeah, my belly's over here growling already.
That's because you didn't get out to the fair today and get all that good fair food. There were funnel cakes and all kinds of good stuff.
I had leftover spaghetti.
A night at the barn. We haven't talked about that one either. That's Saturday, September 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. And that's at the Floyd Center of Arts. And there's tickets that are required. And it looks like it's $80 per person, $150 per couple. But all proceeds benefit the Floyd County Center of Arts. So get your tickets at www.floydartscenter.org.
Was it dinner and a show?
It says, join us for an evening under the stars as we celebrate 30 years of art, community, and creativity at this special ticketed fundraiser, featuring live music by South 40, a signature cocktail, catering by Chef Mickey G of Maples Restaurant, photo opportunities, and access to our silent auction.
That'd be good.
Sounds like a date night for you, Lucas.
Nah, I can't commit live on recording because then
You better not.
Yeah. I've been married long enough.
There's no putting the bullet back in that chamber, is it?
But it would be fun, and a lot of probably our listeners know Mickey G when he had his restaurant.
That's right.
And what an amazing cook he is. He's out there at the golf course, isn't he now?
In Primland, right?
Yeah, I believe so. He still, to this day, he'll post pictures of some of the dishes, but man, that sounds like a pretty good time.
What is it with Italian restaurants and not being able to make it in this town, man?
I know.
Yeah, we just got word, Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday afternoon.
That
Giraldi's.
Giraldi's is closing down at the end of the month. Did you know that, Eric?
I'd heard that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think that is he still possibly trying to find another place to move the operations to?
I hope he does.
Albert's
Great
been at it
food.
for a long time. Albert's 87.
He's 87 years old, and
87
the other
years
day,
young, I'd say.
That's right, because he had that vehicle. I guess it's a van. He parallel parked it right at lunchtime the other day. I just watched him. Foot traffic and vehicular traffic busy in town, and he just whips it in there, parallel parks, gets out, and goes inside and starts serving people. 87 years young.
Yeah, if you haven't checked them out, you need to.
Oh,
the
my
food
gosh.
is amazing. Their pizza's delicious. The subs are great.
Because of that bread that's brought in from New York, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, he told me when he started, I asked him if because I'm special. I said I needed gluten free. He told me, he said, back home, nobody's ever even heard of that. He said I had to start buying it here in America. He said only Americans can't have gluten. Nobody knows what that is in Europe. He's a delightful man to talk to. He's awesome.
You call pretty often and get gluten-free stuff over there, don't you, Lucas?
Yeah.
I was thinking you did.
Usually I don't run into any trouble. They're ready to make it. And for those of us that have to eat gluten free, you appreciate that.
Well, I actually have had one of their gluten-free paninis. They use the cauliflower crust
Yes.
to make a panini. It's fantastic.
All right. Does that cover us for events this week? I don't want to jump the gun again here and miss out on anything.
Oh, I reckon.
If we haven't covered it this week, we'll get it next week.
That's right. That's right. Well, true crime. People, they love hearing about court cases and hear what's going on.
Well, I decided to pick a golden oldie here. Well, it's not really super old, but it's from 2023, from a couple years ago. This one's a little bit more lighthearted as far as things go.
Yeah.
Because we have some heavy things, and most of the court stories have some sort of tragedy or horror. This one has horror, but it's not really tragedy.
In a different way.
In a different way. On June 10th of 2023, the early morning hours, Deputy Buckner and Deputy West from the Floyd County Sheriff's Office, they responded over to Nichols Brothers Exhaust, which is over there next to Family Dollar. They spoke with Mr. Nichols, who was the proprietor of the Nichols Brothers Exhaust, and he advised that when he came in that morning, bright and early, he drove on in, parked, and then he noticed that someone seemed to be hanging out of their truck that they use for hauling things, and Scott Nichols Brothers written on the side of it, and it was unfortunately unlocked the night before, and he looked over and there was someone like hanging half out of the window. Well, he was concerned. He goes up and checks it out. And then inside he found a male and female in their late 20s, early 30s. Unfortunately, neither one of them were clothed, laying naked on his bench seat in there. So it was a nice long one of those bench seat trucks. It was a little bit more comfortable, I suppose, for him. Both of them fast asleep. He took the opportunity to wake them up.
He didn't even leave him a blanket in the cab, did he?
It was still pretty warm then, apparently, because they had the windows rolled down.
Oh, okay.
And just had to help themselves.
They done set up shop then.
Apparently they had. And the deputies arrived there, and the person they found inside was Christopher Kelly, and the woman inside there with him was Melissa Chafin. By the time the deputies got there, they were mercifully at least partially clothed. And Mr. Kelly had advised that he was sleeping in the vehicle, hoping that in the morning he could try to ask about doing a little work around Nichols Brothers. It's a heck of a way to ingratiate yourself with the boss. See, I'm right here.
Not really starting out on the right foot there, are
Well,
you?
If you can look at me right now, you certainly can hire me. If you can stand me right now. Wow.
Given the condition of the way they left the inside of the vehicle, I mean, there wasn't any damage. Let's just say there wasn't anything that made the vehicle inoperative, but Mr. Nichols felt that, I think that he described the interior of the vehicle as quote unquote nasty. And Mr. Kelly and Miss Chafin were charged with tampering with a vehicle. When that went to trial a few months later, they were given the opportunity, was taken under advisement, and for them to spend the time hanging over their heads to pay restitution of $160, which is what it cost to clean the vehicle, so that Mr. Nichols felt like he would be able to operate it without other residue on him.
What kind of fine or penalty does that tampering charge come
It's a
with?
Class 1 misdemeanor,
Okay.
tampering with a vehicle, and that's just doing anything to a vehicle, whether it damages it or alters it or makes it somehow inoperable or more difficult to operate. And I suppose by the way he described the interior of the vehicle and the smell, he described it as being difficult to operate, so we felt that that was appropriate. But Mr. Kelly did, in fact, end up paying and Ms. Chafin ended up paying their restitution, and the vehicle was cleaned.
And I'm assuming he didn't get the job.
You know, funny about that, I don't think he did. He was ordered not to return to Nichols Brothers property, and apparently about the same time he was also he'd been wandering around the inside of the Family Dollar. He was asked not to return there either.
And this was 2023, huh?
That was 2023, wrapped up in February of 2024.
And people say nothing goes on in Floyd.
I tell you, that was...
You think that. Just when you think nothing's going on in Floyd, you show up to open up your garage and there's two naked people in your work vehicles.
Well, let's say it's not something you're expecting.
I don't know if you know Tough Nichols or not, but stories like that follow him around anyways.
Oh, yeah. That's a story only fit for somebody named Tough.
Well, there was some speculation of whether or not it was just going to be Nichols Brothers exhaust and or bed and breakfast.
Yeah. The old Nichols B&B, huh?
It's a wonder he didn't serve him a knuckle sandwich.
Yeah. Tough. All right. Well, I appreciate the True Crime Fix for us this week, Eric. Before we wrap this thing up, it's been a long episode. We're going to give our thanks to John X and our production crew, Big Country Cockrum, for all that they do in the editing and getting this thing polished up.
Also known as Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
That's right.
The Floyd County Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Rarely spotted outside of his natural habitat.
Rarely seen in the wild.
Who knew at all this time, all this searching?
There you just have to look for him.
He
in
walked
dispatch.
among us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We thank them, though. They keep this thing rolling. And don't forget, like and subscribe.
That's what we're told each week. Say like and subscribe.
Yeah. If I don't say that, I don't get to record next week, apparently. So, no, like and subscribe. It is big. You get the notification every time this episode drops, and it helps us out, too.
And again, thanks to Safe Surfing and Eddie. Appreciate that, man. We thank you for allowing us this space and doing what you do.
That's right. They've got a fantastic platform. We've talked about it, interviewed them on here. If you haven't heard about it, don't know about it, check it out. Safe Surfing Foundation. They're trying to protect our kids.
And he'll be on here next week to talk about that as well.
There we go. We'll
All
let
right.
everybody know. Expecting Mr. Eddie Worth next week will be rejoining us. So there you go.
So we get a break from Chad's summaries.
Yeah.
You do.
We
No
enjoy
board
that.
meeting
You know,
next
I'm
week.
thinking about passing that torch to you. What do you think?
I'm sorry, I was asleep again. Sorry, you were talking.
All right, y'all. Well, listen, that's going to do it for this week. Until next week, we'll, again, Chad just mentioned it. We're going to be joined by a special guest. Mr. Eddie Worth will be joining us. Chad will be off next week. So y'all give him the best wishes. Tell him to have a good week off the break. And until next time, I'm going to remind you to take care of yourselves and take care of the ones you love. Bye-bye.
We'll see you.